All right, let's get into this. We are doing a deep dive on Prague today, the capital of Bohemia, the city of 100 spires.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a city that just completely captures the imagination, and it shows in the numbers. We're talking over 8 million tourists a year now.
And that number, that staggering number, is exactly why we need to have this conversation.
Yes.
Our mission today is pretty specific. We're essentially stress testing Prague's holiday historic charm.
A stress test. I like that.
Yeah, we need to figure out if that fairy tale image, the one you see on Instagram, all misty and perfect, if it actually holds up to the reality of modern tourism. We're talking crowds, inflation, medieval streets, all of it.
The ledger is open because Prague has it's changed so much in just the last few years. It's not that super cheap getaway it once was.
Not at all. It's aiming for something different now.
So we want to give you the shortcut. Let's start with 3 big, I'd say, contrarian takes. The things people almost always get wrong right out of the gate.
Okay, let's do it. And number 1 is a big one. And it's about respect, really. Prague is not in Eastern Europe.
Right. Do not say this to a Czech person.
Please don't. I mean, just look at a map. It's west of Vienna. It's firmly, historically, culturally Central Europe.
It was part of the Holy Roman Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yeah.
Its historical ties are much more Western, even with the whole Iron Curtain period.
And that history, that distinction, it really matters to Czechs. Understanding that helps you understand the whole city, its architecture, its independence.
Yeah.
It's just the proper context.
Absolutely. Geographically true, culturally vital. Okay, so what's number 2? This one hits you right in the holiday markets.
It really does. We're talking about the Treblenik.
The chimney cake.
The chimney cake. It's everywhere. It's this spiral dough, roasted over coals, covered in sugar, smells amazing.
Often filled with ice cream or Nutella, right?
Exactly. It looks so traditional. But the thing is, it's not. It's a tourist import.
So it's not some ancient Bohemian recipe.
Not at all. It's more of a Hungarian and Slovak thing that was very cleverly marketed in Prague in the last decade or so, specifically for tourists. It's basically a sugar donut designed for Instagram.
That's brutal, but true. It looks great, but it's not the deep cultural experience you might think it is.
Not in the slightest.
Okay.
And the third contrarian take is about money.
The old beer is cheaper than water line.
Well, yes. And that could still be true. It's sort of the one economic outlier. But the bigger picture is way more complicated now.
You can find a world-class pint for, say, $2.50, and then walk 50 feet onto the Old Town Square and pay $7 for a mediocre coffee. That's a London price point.
It is. And that signals really high inflation in this crazy variable value. It all depends on where you're standing. Your location by just a few hundred feet can double or triple your cost.
We'll get into the why of that later. But this all leads to the one major downside, the big hurdle for a lot of people. The crowds.
I mean, this needs to be underlined. We're not talking about a city that's just a bit busy.
No.
We're talking Disney World level density. Thousands of people packed into a medieval street grid that was designed for maybe a horse and cart. If you have any claustrophobia, the Christmas markets will. They will test you.
They absolutely will. And yet, despite all that, we're going to make a pretty bold claim today.
I think we have to. Despite the crowds, despite the traps, Prague might still be the single most atmospherically perfect city in the world for a winter trip. There's a moodiness to it that's just unmatched.
That's a huge claim. So our roadmap is clear. We're going to reset your expectations, give you logistical hacks, how to save money right from the airport. We'll break down budgets, point out the traps, and then wrap it all up with a final verdict for every kind of traveler.
Let's start with that context reset, because using a pre-2020 guidebook for Prague right now is, well, it's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so let's reset that context. What has actually happened in Prague in the last few years? Why does it feel so different?
Well, you've got this perfect storm, really. There's the huge post-pandemic travel boom hitting everywhere, but it's been particularly intense in Central Europe. And that's combined with some pretty serious inflation in the Czech Republic.
So that famous $1 pint, that's basically a museum piece now.
In the city center, yes.
Yeah.
It's a memory. And beyond that, the city is actively trying to rebrand itself.
Rebrand how?
For years, it had this reputation as the cheap booze weekend spot, the capital of stag parties.
Right, I remember that.
The tourism board is actively trying to shed that image. They want to attract what they call the high culture traveler, the person who's there for the opera, the galleries, the incredible architecture, the new fine dining scene.
And attracting that kind of traveler means higher prices.
Exactly. It's a strategic shift. And that shift really clashes with what you see on social media.
Ah, the Instagram effect. You see these reels of empty, snowy, cobblestone streets, golden lanterns glowing. It looks so peaceful.
It's a complete fantasy. First of all, the reality check on the weather. It doesn't really snow like that very often in December anymore. You're much more likely to get a cold, damp, gray day.
And second, the empty streets part.
That's the big one. Those streets are packed, shoulder to shoulder. You have to manage your expectation of solitude down to zero during peak hours. You are sharing this history with tens of thousands of other people.
Which is fine if you know it's coming. But if you walk onto the Charles Bridge at noon expecting a quiet, reflective moment,
You will be profoundly disappointed,
Hmm.
maybe even angry.
But this is where it gets interesting, because even with the crowds, there's something real there, the weight of its history. Why does Prague feel so much older, so much more authentic than other European cities?
World War II. It's as simple as that. Prague is one of the very few major European capitals that was not flattened by bombs. The historic core was.
Hmm.
It was largely spared.
That is such a crucial point. When you go to, say, Warsaw, you're looking at a beautiful, heroic reconstruction of its old town.
A meticulous reconstruction.
Yeah.
Or parts of Berlin, which were completely rebuilt. In Prague, when you're standing in the Old Town Square, you are looking at the original Gothic buildings.
Yeah.
The original Renaissance and Baroque facades.
It's not a copy.
It's not a copy. That stone has been there for 700 years. It's a layered cake of genuine, uninterrupted history. That's why it has that dark, imposing, authentic character. It hasn't been scrubbed clean and remade. It just is.
And that preserved history is the backdrop for the Christmas market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which are visually stunning. Maybe the most beautiful in Europe because of that architectural backdrop.
Yeah.
But you have to be smart about what you're buying.
Right. You said they're commercialized. What does that mean in practice?
It means you shouldn't go expecting to find, a unique, handcrafted ornament made by an artisan in a small bohemian village.
What will you find?
You'll find mass-produced ornaments, generic souvenirs, and lots of grilled sausage, which is fine. But the focus shouldn't be on the shopping. It should be on the atmosphere.
The smell of the mulled wine, the svarak.
Right, the svajak, the cinnamon, the lights reflecting off those ancient, dark stone buildings. That is the product. The mood is what you're there for, not necessarily the stuff in the stalls.
Okay, so context is set. It's historic, it's crowded, and it can be pricey. Now let's get into the logistics. Starting with the moment you land, which is the first place you can either waste money or pull off a really smart hack.
The pain point starts right at the airport, Václav Havel, or PRG. It's strange for such a major capital, but there's no direct train link to the city center.
No train, so you can't just hop on and go.
Nope. You've got to use buses or cars. So let's break down the public transport options first.
Go for it.
Option 1 is the easy one, the Airport Express bus, the AE. It costs about 120 koruna, so €5, €5. It's direct, it's comfortable, takes you right to the main train station.
Okay, that sounds fine.
It is fine, but there's a superior hack. The one we recommend for anyone who wants value and efficiency.
The 30% savings hack.
This is it. You ignore the express bus and you look for the regular city bus, number 119.
Okay, bus 119.
It's clean, it runs all the time, it has luggage racks. You take that bus to the very last stop, which is called Nadrzej Veleslavin. That stop is a dedicated transfer point to the metro, to Line A, the Green Line.
And the cost difference is the key here.
It's huge. The total ticket for the bus and the metro ride is 40 koruna. That's less than $2. The whole journey takes about 40 minutes, so it's not even slower. You're just being smarter.
And one critical step here. You have to buy your ticket in the airport arrivals hall before you get on the bus.
Yeah.
And then you have to validate it in the little machine on the bus.
Yes, that validation stamp is everything. We'll come back to that. But that single ticket covers your whole journey into the city.
Now, what about taxis?
A huge warning here. Do not, under any circumstances, just grab a taxi from the curb at the airport. You are just asking for trouble. Overcharging, scenic routes, the infamous turbo meters.
The turbometer, a classic scam.
A classic. If you must have a car, use a rideshare app, Uber or Bolt. But honestly, the public transit hack is faster, cheaper, and a great introduction to how good Prague's system is.
So you get into the center, you step out of the metro. What's the first physical impression?
It's the verticality. You just look up and see all these spires. It
Yeah.
feels dark, Gothic, a little bit
Yeah.
imposing.
I've always said it feels like Gotham City, but if it was designed by a fancy pastry chef,
Mm.
it's ornate, but also kind of moody.
That's a great description. And then you feel it under your feet. the cobblestone trap.
Oh, the cobblestones. If I can give one piece of gear advice, it's this. Do not bring a cheap roller bag with those little plastic
The
wheels.
sound alone is just, it's the sound of tourists suffering.
Mhm.
That clack, clack, clack over those huge, uneven stones.
It's awful. You're fighting the bag the whole way. Your arm hurts. My advice, use a backpack. Or if you have to roll, get a bag with big, heavy-duty rubber wheels.
It makes a world of difference. And the atmosphere is just so thick, especially in winter. You have this distinct smell of, like, coal smoke from some of the older buildings mixed with cinnamon from the markets.
Then architectural density is just wild. You can walk 10 meters and see a Romanesque cellar, a Gothic church tower, and an Art Nouveau hotel facade all right next to each other.
It's like centuries of history compressed into these tiny, winding lanes. It feels like you're discovering something new around every corner.
Until you hit the Charles Bridge at 2 in the afternoon.
And that is where the fairy tale can come to a screeching halt.
We did this first day, full of excitement. It was a complete disaster. It wasn't a bridge. It was a pedestrian traffic jam. We couldn't even see the statues. All you see is the back of someone's winter coat.
It is total gridlock. So the advice has to be, do not judge Prague by the Charles Bridge in the middle of the day. If that's your first taste, you'll hate it. You have to save that experience for a much, much smarter time.
So now that we're in the city, let's talk about money. We need to decode the koruna and, more importantly, talk about the traps.
Right, let's open the books on the Czech koruna, the CZK. The number one rule, and it's not negotiable, is you always pay in koruna.
Even if a shop says they take euros.
Especially then. They will give you a terrible, made-up exchange rate that pads their profit. Always, always use the local currency. And that brings us to the exchange offices.
The big 0% commission signs you see everywhere.
That is the oldest trick in the book. It's technically true they don't charge a separate fee called commission. Instead, they build a massive fee into the awful rate they give you.
So you might see the real rate is, say, 25 koruna to the euro.
And they'll be offering you 18. I've seen it. You're losing over 20% of your money before you've even spent it. It's a huge loss.
I admit, I fell for that my first time. I thought I was being smart, avoiding the fee.
Everyone does. So, the fix. Two good options. First, only use ATMs from actual reputable banks. Look for names like KP, Raiffeisen, ASOB.
And when you're at the ATM, there's a crucial step.
A vital step. The machine will offer to do the currency conversion for you in your home currency. It will look helpful. You must always, always decline this offer. Choose to be charged in the local currency, in CZK. Let your own bank do the conversion. Their rate will be infinitely better.
And the second option, if you have cash to change.
There's a well-known, reputable, independent exchange place on Kapruva Street, right near the Old Town Square. It's famous among travelers for having fair, transparent rates. That's the one place to go if you need to change cash.
Okay, so let's get into daily budgets. Prague can work for a whole range of travelers. Let's break it down into 3 bands.
Let's start with the low budget or backpacker. Your goal here is to keep accommodation and food costs at rock bottom. And Prague has some truly great hostels, like the Roadhouse or Sertovi's.
So what's the cost for a dorm bed?
You're looking at about 600 to 900 koruna a night. That's around 25 to 40 US dollars. Really good value. But the real hack for food is the jedilna.
The local canteen. We have to explain this because it's a total game changer.
It really is. Think of it like a traditional no-frills cafeteria, mostly for local workers. You grab a tray, you go down the line, you point at what looks good. It's all classic Czech food.
And it's mainly for lunch, right?
Almost exclusively for lunch, yeah. Usually from about 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can get a huge, filling meal soup, a main, odd for maybe 150 koruna. That's like $6 or $7.
So if you do that for your main meal, your daily food cost is tiny.
Exactly. You can eat really well for about $13 a day, so your total daily spend, all in, can be as low as $50 to $60.
Amazing. Okay, next up, the mid-range couple. This is probably most people listening.
Right. You want a nice private room, you want to eat at good restaurants. The key advice here is, do not stay in Prague 1, the main tourist district.
The value just isn't there.
It's not.
Yeah.
Look at neighborhoods like Vinohrady or Letna. They're beautiful, full of locals, great restaurants, and only a 10-minute tram ride from the center. You'll pay around $110 to $150 a night for a great room instead of double that in the Old Town.
And for food, you're looking for traditional dinners like svichkova or gulasha.
Exactly. And you're still using the lunch special, the Denny menu, to keep costs down midday.
Yeah.
Excluding your hotel, a couple could have a fantastic time on about $180 to $220 a day.
Okay, finally, luxury, high-end.
This is where Prague offers maybe the best value in the world. You can stay in converted 14th century monasteries, places like the Mandarin Oriental or the Augustine, for around $450 a night and up.
Which is a lot of money, but compared to a similar historic property in Paris or Rome.
It's a bargain. The level of luxury, history, and service you get for that price is just. It's on another level. Your high-end dollar goes so much further in Prague.
Let's put some specific holiday price tags on things. Mulled wine at the market.
About 90 koruna, $4. A classical music concert in a church, which is a fantastic holiday experience.
I love doing that.
It's the best. That'll be $22 to $35. And the big ticket item, the Prague Castle Circuit ticket, is about $20.
And is that castle ticket worth it?
100%. Just for St. Vitus Cathedral alone. That is a non-negotiable, must-see piece of Gothic architecture. It's breathtaking.
Okay, let's circle back to the beer economy. Why is beer still so cheap?
It's this amazing mix of culture and tax policy. Beer is considered a staple, a cultural product, not a luxury. So it has very low excise taxes and preferential VAT rates.
Whereas a bottle of water in a restaurant is an imported, marked-up good.
Precisely. It has higher taxes and a bigger markup. So it's not just a cute saying. It is often fiscally smarter to order a beer than a bottle of water.
And on the flip side of value, what's one activity trap to absolutely avoid?
The standard 1-hour river cruise, don't do it.
Why not?
It's a tourist factory. You're packed in, you listen to a boring recorded narration, and you don't see anything you can't see better by walking. For a better experience, rent one of the little electric boats yourself, or book the jazz boat for an evening cruise with live music. That turns it into a real event.
Okay, we've covered the mood and the money. Now let's get into timing, more traps, and how to actually find those quiet, authentic moments.
The first trap we have to hammer home again is the food trap. I have to repeat this. If you can see the astronomical clock from your restaurant table, the food is probably bad and definitely overpriced.
It's the location tax.
A massive one. The fix is so simple. Just walk 5 minutes in any direction away from that square. The quality goes way up and the price drops by a third.
Any specific recommendation for good, honest Czech food?
Look for a place called Locale. They have a few locations. It's all about fresh ingredients, traditional recipes, and perfectly poured Pilsner Urquell from the tank. It's the real deal.
And the taxi trap again. Hailing a cab on the street in Prague 1 is still a bad idea.
Still a very high-risk move. You're just opening yourself up to scams. Stick to the apps. Uber, Bolt, or the best local one, which is called Liftago. It's often used by professional licensed drivers.
So timing. When is the absolute best time to go to get that moody atmosphere without the peak crowds?
Well, if the Christmas markets are the main reason you're going, then aim for the first half of December, December 1st to the 15th.
Why not the week of Christmas itself?
It gets even more crowded, prices for hotels spike, and a lot of the local, smaller shops and restaurants start to close down for the holiday. The atmosphere becomes a bit less authentic.
But what if you don't care about the markets? What if you just want the mood?
Then the absolute best time is late October or March. The crowds are gone, hotel rates are much lower, and you get that beautiful atmospheric fog rolling in off the river in the mornings. That's when the city feels truly haunting and magical.
What about a late night strategy? If getting up for a 6 a.m. sunrise is just not going to happen?
That's a great alternative. Go to the Charles Bridge at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. You won't have the golden light of dawn, but you'll have something else. Almost complete solitude. The lamps are lit. The statues are these dark silhouettes. It feels like you have the whole medieval city to yourself.
I love that. Okay, now we need to talk about the big disappointments, the things on every must-do list that often leave people feeling.
At the top of that list is the astronomical clock show.
The hourly show, yeah. It's the classic anticlimax.
It really is. You see thousands of people gather in the square, all staring up with their phones out. The anticipation builds.
And now what happens? A skeleton rings a little bell, a few figures pop out of a window, a chicken squawks, and it's over in like 30 seconds.
And everyone just kind of looks at each other like, is that it? The letdown is real.
No, I have to push back a little here. The clock itself is an incredible piece of 15th century engineering.
Oh, for sure. As a historical artifact, it's a marvel.
Yeah.
It tracks the sun, the moon, the zodiac. It's brilliant.
So the advice should be, go see the clock, appreciate it as a work of art and science, but maybe skip the part where you stand in a massive crowd for half an hour just to watch the little show.
That's the perfect way to put it. Manage the expectation. And the second big disappointment is that food fraud. the Tredelnik.
We have to say it again. It's messy, it's overpriced, it's just sugar-drenched dough. It is not an authentic Czech experience.
So what's the fix? What's the authentic alternative?
You go to a real Czech bakery, a kucharna, and you buy a vitrnik.
Ah, the Vutik. Explain what that is.
It's basically a magnificent large cream puff. It's made from choux pastry, and it's usually filled with these 2 layers of delicious cream, one vanilla and one caramel. It's a genuine Czech pastry, and it is so much better.
Okay, so let's flip from the disappointments to the moments that make the whole trip worthwhile. The transcendent moments.
For me, it has to be that Charles Bridge at dawn experience we keep talking about. It's a pain to get up that early in the cold, but when you're standing there and the fog is swirling around the statues and there are maybe 5 other people on the entire bridge, that's the magic. That's the Prague from the fairy tales.
My moment was indoors. It was at the Strahov Monastery Library.
Up by the castle. Beautiful spot.
You go into the theological hall and the philosophical hall, and you can't actually walk among the books. You just look in from the doorway.
Which can be a little frustrating.
It can, but the view is just breathtaking. The ceiling frescoes, the woodwork. But for me, it was the smell. That smell of old paper, leather, and wood polish. It's the smell of centuries of knowledge. It just hits you.
That's a great one. My third would be finding the soul of the city in a real pub. A place like Uzlateo Tigra, the Golden Tiger.
Ah, now you're talking. This is not a tourist bar. You have to explain the system.
Okay, so you walk in, you find a seat at a shared table, and you sit down. You don't say anything. A half-liter of fresh Pilsner Urquell is just placed in front of you.
They don't ask. They just bring it.
Yeah.
And they keep track with little pencil marks on a piece of paper.
When you finish, another one appears. There's no music, just the hum of conversation. And the only way to stop the beer from coming in to get your bill is to put your coaster on top of your empty glass.
That's the signal.
That's the signal. It's this perfect, efficient, unspoken system. It's an incredible cultural experience.
Those are the moments. The dawn, the history, the pub culture. That's what you go for.
Okay, let's move into our last big section before the verdict. Comfort, safety, and cultural nuances.
Right. First, let's be clear about safety. Statistically, Prague is an incredibly safe city. Violent crime is very, very low. You can generally walk around late at night and feel perfectly secure.
But there's a difference between statistical safety and comfort safety, right? And the main issue here is pickpocketing.
Exactly. It's a crime of opportunity that thrives in crowds. The main target zones are the crush of people around the astronomical clock in the Christmas markets and on Tram 22.
That's the tram that goes up to the castle, so it's always packed with tourists.
Always. So the advice is simple. Wallet in your front pocket. Bag zipped and worn on your front in those crowded spots. Just be aware of your surroundings.
What about other cultural adjustments? The service culture can be a shock for some people, especially Americans.
It really can. The waiters in Prague are not working for tips in the same way. Their focus is on efficiency, not on being your best friend.
So they might seem a bit direct or not very smiley.
Exactly. And it's not meant to be rude. It's just a different cultural approach to service. It's professional and functional. You should still tip about 10% for good service, but don't expect the effusive friendliness you might get in the States.
And we have to mention that tram inspector scam.
Yes. A person might approach you on the tram, flash a fake-looking badge, and claim you didn't validate your ticket properly. They'll demand a big fine in cash right there on the spot.
So what's the fix?
A real inspector will have an official badge and usually an electronic device to issue a proper receipt. They're unlikely to demand a large cash payment on the spot. If someone is aggressive and demanding cash, be very suspicious. Ask to see proper ID or to handle it at an official office.
Okay, one more major comfort issue. Accessibility.
This is a huge one. Historic charm means stairs and cobblestones. Prague is not an easy city for anyone with mobility issues. Many of the beautiful old hotels don't have elevators.
And the metro can be a challenge too, right?
A big challenge. A lot of the stations are really deep underground and rely on these long, steep, fast escalators. Not all of them have elevators, so if you need accessible transit, you have to do very careful research on your route ahead of time. It's not a city you can just navigate easily if you have mobility challenges.
So if Prague sounds a bit too intense, a bit too crowded, what are the alternatives? Where else can you go?
My number one recommendation within the Czech Republic is a city called Olomouc.
Olomouc. Tell us about it.
It's about 2 hours east of Prague by train, and it honestly feels like Prague did 20 years ago. It has a gorgeous main square, a huge UNESCO column, Baroque fountains, And because it's a big university town, it has a great, lively atmosphere.
And the prices.
About 30% lower across the board. It's fantastic value. And you get that historic charm without the crushing crowds.
Okay, what about the more famous alternative, Eski Krumlov?
Ah, Krumlov. It's stunningly beautiful, like a fairy tale town come to life, the castle, the river winding through it. It's perfect.
But there's a catch.
There's a big catch. During the day, it is even more of a concentrated tourist trap than Prague. The tiny streets are just choked with day trip tour groups.
And it's only worth it if...
If you stay overnight, absolutely. After 5 p.m., when the tour buses leave, the town becomes quiet and magical. But a day trip can be really frustrating.
What about hopping over the border?
A great option is Dresden, Germany. It's only a 2-hour train ride away. Their Christmas markets are some of the oldest and most famous in Germany, so you get a totally different, very traditional market experience.
And you could combine these cities, right?
Yes, the classic Imperial Triangle itinerary is fantastic. You do 3 days in Prague for the Gothic moodiness, then take the train to Vienna for 3 days of imperial grandeur, and then finish with 3 days in Budapest for the thermal baths and ruined bars. It's an amazing trip.
Last one. What about Karlovy Vary?
Carlsbad. It's a beautiful spa town with all these colorful old buildings. It's very pretty, especially in the snow. But just a heads up,
That's it.
the famous mineral water that you drink from the springs, it tastes pretty strongly of sulfur.
Like rotten eggs.
A little bit, yeah. But the architecture is lovely.
Okay, it is time for the final verdict matrix. After everything we've discussed, is Prague actually worth the hassle? And for who?
First up, the backpacker.
Ah, that's an easy one. Verdict. Yes. The beer is still cheap. The hostels are world-class. It's super walkable. It's still fantastic value as long as you eat at the Jdelnas and stay out of the tourist trap restaurants.
Agreed. Next, the mid-range couple on a romantic getaway.
This is a verdict, yes, with conditions. The romance is there, but you have to earn it. You have to get up for the 6 a.m. sunrise, and you have to stay out late for the quiet moments. Midday is not romantic, it's stressful.
And you have to book restaurants in advance and stay in a quieter neighborhood like Malastrana.
Exactly. Okay, what about the family trip?
Oof. I'm going with verdict. Mixed. Kids will like the castle and the toy museum, but the crowds are so stressful with little ones, and strollers on those cobblestones are a genuine nightmare. It's not a relaxing trip for parents.
I agree completely. And finally, the luxury traveler.
That's another easy one. Verdict. Absolute yes. The value is just off the charts. Private tours, staying in a converted monastery, Michelin star dining for half the price in New York. It's a phenomenal luxury destination.
So let's sum it up with an optimized 4-day itinerary. What's the sweet spot?
4 days is perfect. Day 1, dive into the old town and the Jewish quarter, get your bearings, see the chaos, then escape to an authentic pub in the evening.
Day 2.
The Castle District in Malastrana. And you must start this day early. Be up at the castle before 8:30 a.m. to see St. Vitus Cathedral before the crowds descend, then wander down through the quieter streets of Malastrana.
Day 3 is for getting away from the crowd.
Exactly. Go to Vierad, the city's other, much quieter castle for great views. Then spend the afternoon in a real neighborhood like Vienaredi, eating where the locals eat.
And day 4.
You have a choice. Either a day trip to Kutna Hora to see the famous Bone Church, which is fascinatingly creepy, or just spend the day intentionally getting lost, wandering without a plan.
I love that. So, final scores. Logistically, what do you give it?
I'd give the logistics a B+A. The public transport is an A+A, but the street-level crowd management brings it down. Walking can be incredibly inefficient.
And the emotional score. The feeling of the city.
That's an A. For all its frustrations, when the light is right and the mood hits, there are few places on Earth that feel so hauntingly beautiful. It really gets under your skin.
It really does. So before we go, we have one last piece of non-negotiable advice, a final practical takeaway that could save you a lot of hassle.
Yes, this is crucial. Don't forget to validate your tram ticket.
It sounds so simple, but it's so important. You can buy the ticket, but if you don't stick it in that little yellow box to get it time-stamped, it's not valid.
And that's when you're vulnerable to either a real fine or one of those scams. That little stamp is everything.
So safe travels. Go find the magic in those quiet corners.
And trust your alarm clock. The early morning is your best friend in Prague.
And please, watch your wallet, and for goodness sake, skip the chimney cake. We'll see you next time.